Hello everyone, my name is Rachel from Happy Silver People. Thank you for joining me today. And we're going to be talking about journaling. So they say journaling is very good for our mental health in several different ways. For example, it can be quite cathartic, it can be quite relaxing, it can be quite reflective. It can also help us remember some good times in the past, and it can help us think about ways in which we want to move forward and new things we want to do and maybe try and put things right as well. It can give us a sense of achievement that we have actually done certain things that we set out to do. So one simple way to do that, the old-fashioned way, is keeping a diary. My grandma was an amazing diarist. She kept a diary for many, many years. This is my grandma when she got married in 1935. Her name was Gwen, and my grandpa's name was Clifford. Sadly, my grandpa died in his early 70s, and my grandmother became a widow in her late 60s. And obviously it was a very difficult time for her. My father suggested that she might think about keeping a diary. And she did. She took it up with real focus and kept a diary almost every day until she died. She didn't realize at the time that she was going to be a widow for 35 years, and she was going to spend a long time on her own. So we still have her diaries, many of them, and it was always a dairy diary. As an example from 1989, and she just noted down every day the weather. So she always started with the weather, and then she just talked about where she'd been, who she was writing letters to, who she'd got letters from, things she'd bought, really simple day-to-day things. She didn't refer to her feelings or her thoughts at all. She doesn't talk about world events at all. It's just very much about her and her life. And thinking about what she might have got out of that, I'm guessing that reading back through, she would have felt that life was still going on, that there were good things in her life, that there were things that she could enjoy, and she got a sense of fulfillment from what she'd been doing. So that's one simple way to get into it. Just keep a diary, and it doesn't have to be anything terribly personal if you don't want it to be. It's whatever you make of it. Another way that you might want to get into it, though, is something like this. So this is Breathe. It's a magazine called Breathe, and this is a list journal. And we got these for everyone in the place where I work a couple of years ago, and we all had a go at journaling. So I particularly like this one. It's got lovely illustrations all the way through. It's got lots of space for you to write whatever it is that you're looking at. And it's divided up into 5 different sections. First section here is escape. So for example, you might note down here things you'd like to do if you had a spare hour or a spare afternoon or a spare day or even a spare weekend. There's also, I started filling this one out, things I like about spring, summer, autumn and winter, places I'd like to explore locally, countries I'd like to visit, cities I'd like to explore or re-explore. In the section around living, there was a section here I found really quite useful, what I need to declutter. That's one of my big tasks at the moment. And also what I'm holding on to and why. And I found that really helpful to think about some of the things that I may be keeping that I don't need to. What are the real reasons that I'm holding on to these things, and really, am I ever going to be honest, am I ever going to use them again? It's also things I'd like to grow, for example, ways I can bring nature into my home. I'm just picking out a few examples here. This one, quote from Bob Dylan here: "Take care of all your memories, for you cannot relive them." So my proudest moment, my funniest moment, my most embarrassing moment, which I'm not going to share, and I desperately hope nobody else who was at that particular occasion can remember. Moving on, the next section is around mindfulness. So crafts I'd like to try, or things I'd like to try and do, and I've got calligraphy on the list. I haven't achieved that one just yet. And in creativity, exhibitions and museums I'd like to see, I'd like to visit. And I had a few ideas already, but I did a little bit of research on the internet, and I also found that there was a museum in Croatia called the Museum of Broken Relationships, which sounds fascinating. So I'd love to go there one day. Hadn't heard about that one before. And there's also in Japan an art island, Naoshima. There's a Chichu art museum, which also sounds fascinating. So I found a couple of new ones to add to my list there after researching a little bit. Creative things I can do to relax, some ideas around that. And then in terms of well-being, people I'd like to reconnect with. I've got quite a long list here, and looking back, this is from a couple of years ago, there are some people I have reconnected with. So it was great that this helped to get me focused on that. Things I treasure most in the world, and why. Things which I would feel lost without. And then towards the end here, I've got the best advice I've ever been given. So for me, that was when I was very young. I was advised by one of my uncles I should get a career in IT, and sadly I didn't listen to him. So some advice I didn't take, but probably should have done. And at the end here, little things that bring me joy. So quote here from Andy Warhol: you need to let little things that would ordinarily bore you suddenly thrill you. So some great advice there. I've got a nice long list, and it's good to go back and remind myself. Things like crosswords, cryptic crosswords, I used to love doing those. Haven't done any for years. So a good reminder to me to dig out a cryptic crossword and give one of those a go again. So maybe have a go at a list journal, something like this. You can buy these in your local supermarket, or obviously online. Might be something you'd like to try. There is a magazine that goes with it, Breathe magazine. It comes out every month. It's organized in a similar way. There's some great things in here to read about. Smell Your Way to Happiness. Some really lovely ideas there. There's the index. What else was there here? Changing your posture can have a, see, I straightened up immediately. How changing your posture can have a big impact on your life. How to develop your kindset. We had a look at this at work. There was a little kind of calendar for the week, and we thought about ways in which we could be kind to ourselves, kind to others, and then also how we could be kind to the environment. So things we could do that were a bit more environmentally friendly. And there's always lovely pictures in here, artwork as well. So some great animal shots here at the end. So that's Breathe magazine. Again, you can find it in your local supermarket. If you're stuck for a present for a teenager as well, there's a teen Breathe. So you might want to look out for that. That could be a good gift. Might go down well if you've got a teenager in your life who might like the idea of doing a bit of reflection. So that might be a way into journaling for you. If you want to push yourself a bit harder, there are also lots of books like this around. So this one, I've dipped in and out of. I've done some of what for me were the easier bits. Some of this requires a bit of soul searching, quite a lot of honesty, and I think I need to build up to some of these. But certainly something like this might be something for you to look at if you feel a bit more comfortable with the idea of journaling. In fact, one of the exercises in here is writing about the oldest person you know, and that would have been my grandma, who died when she was 103. So she was a widow for 35 years and reached a ripe old age. So I'm almost done for today. Thank you for listening. But before I go, one other thing you might want to try, so say in terms of mindfulness, it can be very good to practice writing with your non-dominant hand. So my dominant hand is my right hand. Have a go at writing with your left hand, because it just gives you, again, get some different brain cells firing and helps you focus in a different way. Can I do that? Yes, I can. I'm sure you can tell the difference, which is written with my right hand, which is written with my left hand. It did require quite a lot of concentration, but again, just very good mind exercise, brain exercise for you. So maybe just give that a go as well. If you've got a few spare minutes, have a go at doing something like writing with your non-dominant hand. Keep your brain fresh. So thank you for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed hearing about some different suggestions for getting yourself into journalism. Journaling. Do let me know how you get on, and happy writing. See you again soon.